How's it going, everyone? Bass here. So last week I made a video basically targeting a few free agent wide receivers that the Packers could end up targeting. But in today's video, I want to go over more free agents, but primarily on the defensive side that the Packers could target to solidify up their roster before or after the draft. Now, before you go ahead and say they have no money, I implore you to go check out my recent salary cap update video, where the Packers are currently sitting at $15.1 million in cap space. Now, although over half of that has to go to the upcoming rookies, the Packers can still create some more space. For example, a Jair Alexander extension, a Allen Lazard restructure, a Dean Lowry restructure, and a Mason Crosby restructure, all of which could save them even more money for 2022. So all of that combined, they still do have some wiggle room to sign some potential free agents. So today, like I said, let's go over 3 defensive free agents that I would like the Packers to target. Firstly, as a player, I see a lot of people always wanting in Green Bay, and that is former Bear Akiem Hicks, defensive lineman. The Packers could still use more help at defensive line even after signing a free agent a couple weeks ago in Jarran Reed. And the Packers could now be the one taking a rival NFC North team player from one of those teams when it seems like it's always the Packers players that other NFC North teams take. And Akiem Hicks has been a great player in this league the 10 years he's been in the league. Every time Green Bay's played the Bears and he's been playing, he's been a problem. I would just love to see Hicks next to Kenny Clark on this defensive line. Now, last year, Hicks had a bit of an injury issue. He only played 9 games due to injury, but he still played 300-plus snaps, and he was graded as the 23rd overall defensive lineman on PFF with a 72.3 grade, only 8 spots below our own Kenny Clark. He had 15 pressures, 5 sacks, and 17 stops, and that's all within only 9 games, which is impressive. And I think he would be a great veteran signing for the Packers and the Packers defense in general. Because as of right now, it is still only Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, and Jarran Reed who have meaningful snaps in their career in the NFL. And then obviously we still have TJ Slayton, last year's rookie, and then Jack Heflin, undrafted free agent from last year, 2 kind of unknown guys there. And I think getting one more solid veteran defensive lineman and also drafting a defensive lineman would really solidify up that room, because you really have to have a lot of rotational guys down there on the defensive line. Even Kenny Clark isn't going to play a ton of snaps. You need to have guys that are able to rotate around when they need to, and Hicks could be exactly that. And I've kind of always wanted him in Green Bay, to be honest. Spotrac has Hicks' market evaluation at $5.5 million average, and they say a 2-year, $11 million deal would be probably what he would get, which I think is a fair evaluation. And if the Packers could work out a deal where it's a little backloaded or incentive-based, that would definitely work. And I would love to see him in Green Bay, like I said. Next up on my list is an edge player in MELVIN INGRAM, another veteran signing that would really shore up this thin edge rush room for Green Bay. The running theme of this video is kind of veteran players that would really, solidify up certain groups on this defense. And I think MELVIN INGRAM would be a very similar signing to what was the Whitney Merciless signing last year. And Packers could theoretically also bring back Whitney Merciless. And I think INGRAM would be a great rotational edge player for Green Bay. As I say plenty of times in other videos, starting edge players for the Packers and most teams only really play 65% of defensive snaps, that being Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith. So you really need other guys to rotate in and out. And INGRAM had a really solid year last year with both Pittsburgh and Kansas City. He was the 13th highest graded edge, right below Preston Smith with an 80.9 overall grade. And he only played 1 less snap than Preston Smith last year as well. So he was also the 11th best run defending edge last year in the NFL with a 76.7 grade, higher than both Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith in run defending. MELVIN INGRAM had 42 pressures, 3 sacks, 19 stops, and 1 forced fumble. INGRAM did sign that 1-year, $4 million contract with Pittsburgh before being traded to Kansas City. So I'd say his market evaluation is right around the same or even lower at $3 million average. And just like defensive line, the Packers do need to draft an edge player, but also signing a veteran would really help this room, and INGRAM would be a great veteran add. Lastly, on this list, I really wanted to add a safety into this video because I think the Packers are extremely thin at safety right now, and that is RODNEY McLeod. And you might think, well, what about Tyrann Mathieu? Because a lot of people want Tyrann Mathieu in Green Bay. And in my opinion, I just think he's going to be too expensive. I think he's going to command $10+ million per year average. So I just really think that's out of the realm of possibility for free agents for the Packers right now. And McLeod is another veteran player. just like the other two, that could shore up a thin safety room, just like edge and defensive line. And in my opinion, he is better than some of the other free agent safeties, such as Jabril Peppers, Landon Collins, and Terrell Edmonds. Now, McLeod wasn't amazing by any standard last year, but he would fit really well in Green Bay as a third safety, and he would definitely be better than what Henry Black was last year. McLeod had a 64.8 PFF grade last year, but had a nice 73.2 in run defense. He had 43 tackles, 13 stops, and then in the coverage game, he only allowed 13 receptions for 180 yards, only 1 touchdown, and he had 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and allowed a passer rating of 62.7. And McLeod also had some really solid games late last year, one of which, Week 16 versus the New York Giants, he graded an 87.4. And overall, he's been a really solid safety throughout his entire career, and he can play a lot of snaps if you need him to. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles the last 6 years. His last deal was an extension in 2020, which was a $4.3 million average per year. He's almost 32 years old, so I don't see him commanding that much. Likely a $2 million average per year, either a 1 or 2 year deal for him I see happening. And with this move, the Packers would be adding a lot of career snaps and a veteran presence to that extremely thin safety room. The Packers only have Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage with any meaningful snaps in their career. Vernon Scott has 90 total snaps on defense his 2 years in the NFL, and Sean Davis has 0 snaps on defense. So after Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage, they are extremely thin and really don't have anyone with real meaningful defensive snaps. They 100% need to add a third safety, whether that be through the draft or free agency, or honestly both, and getting a third and a fourth safety, because this is a need that I feel like a lot of people are overlooking. The Packers, like I said, desperately need a third safety. So those are my 3 defensive free agent players that I think the Packers should be looking into adding to their team, all in which are groups that are desperately thin for depth players and rotational guys, which is defensive line, edge, and safety. I think all 3 of those groups need adds, whether that be in free agency like this or the draft. And obviously, I'll be doing a video very similar to this, but for the offense this week, so be on the lookout for that. But I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you like any 3 of these free agents, and would you be happy if the Packers signed any one of these guys? Or is there another defensive free agent out there that you like more than one of these 3? Just list that in the comments below. And for everything Packers news, analysis, and updates when it comes to the free agency, draft, and salary cap, make sure to click the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and then also leave a thumbs up on my video. It supports my channel a ton. But that'll about do it for this video. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.